Welcome to a 30-minute full body workout with Hero Board. For today's class, you're going to need your mat, your Hero Board with the pad, 2 yoga blocks, and 2 dumbbells of any weight that you prefer. We're going to begin with the left leg. We're going into a dumbbell assisted left leg reverse lunge. So the left foot is going to come onto a yoga block, making sure that heel is nice and stable on the block. Your right toes will come onto the QR code on the center of your Hero Board. You have dumbbells in both hands. From here, you're going to bend both legs to come into a low lunge and bicep curl the arms at the same time. As the legs bend, the elbows will bend, trying to get as low in your range of motion as you can, maybe even being able to tap that back right knee onto the ground. Even pressure through the right ball and toes of that foot to help make sure your Hero Board continues to go straight forward and back in direction. Keeping it as slow and controlled as you can through this range of motion. In 15 seconds, my friends, we are going to go into a lunge hold. So in 8, meet me in your lowest lunge. We're going to hold it in 3, 2, and 1. So we're just holding our lowest lunge. It's a 30-second hold, my friends, and then we'll come right back to full range. You can extend the arms down towards the ground, or you can hold into an isometric bicep curl if you'd prefer. Less than 15 seconds here, my friends. Keep breathing. We go back into that slow, controlled, full range of motion in 3, 2, and 1. Nice and slow. Drive through that left heel, really finding the connection into the left glutes and the back of that leg. Be mindful of your hips here, keeping the hips really square so that will also assist with the board moving in a straight direction. The back is staying nice and straight throughout this entire movement. Breathing through. You're halfway through this. We're going to go into our last hold, and then we're going to add a variation with kickbacks. So we're just breathing here. Here we go. In 10, meet me in your lowest lunge. We hold it, and we're going into kickbacks. In 5, in 4, in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Come back into that low lunge. Hinging the torso forward is going to feel really nice on that low back. Arms can, again, stay straight or bent. It's what you prefer. The only part of your body moving is going to be your right leg as you bend to pull the Hero Board in and slowly extend back out. 15 seconds left on this move, friends. Stay nice and low. We're going to carefully step off of that board in 5, off of the yoga mat. Your safety first. Here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Gorgeous. So next up is a lateral lunge with the left leg. So you're going to take that yoga block and turn it so that it's perpendicular to your Hero Board. The left foot is going to be on that yoga block, and the shallow side of your Hero Board is going to be facing the yoga block. Right toes, again, come onto the center of your Hero Board. Your right leg is going to stay straight as you slowly come down into a single leg squat, basically, on that left side. Nice and controlled. Both hands are holding onto that dumbbell to give you a little added weight resistance. Anyone at home, if you need, you can always take the dumbbell and just put it on the ground if the weight's too much for you today. At any time throughout this workout, you can always take a break, right? Meet us where you are at. This can get very intense very quickly, especially if you're going nice and slow. This is going to take out momentum and really force the muscles to do the work, which is what we want for an effective workout. Keep breathing through this. You got about 15 seconds, and we're going to go into a low lunge hold. Again, just breathing, chin stays off our chest, allowing that torso to hinge as we come down. We meet in our lowest lunge in 3, in 2, and 1. So we're holding nice and low on the left. You're stacked ankle, knee, hip to the left, right? You're very light on the right toes. In 5, you're going to bend the right knee to pull the hero board towards you. In 3, in 2, and 1. So slow and controlled. The only part of your body moving is going to be that right leg as you slowly pull the hero board towards you and then extending back out. It's controlled. We still stay very heavy through that left heel, squeezing through the back of that left leg. Yes, that left leg should be firing up. You're in an isometric contraction here. As that right leg moves in and out, you're creating instability. So pull the abs in, keep that core tight. In 5, we're going to go back to full range. In 4, we straighten the right leg. In 3, in 2, straighten that right leg. Now drive through the left heel, slowly coming up. Notice how Lacey brings shoulders stacking over hips every time she straightens that left leg and allows the torso to hinge forward as she comes down. Phenomenal job, my friends. You are in your last 30 seconds. That number can be scary, but if you go slow and it's controlled, we're talking 3 to 4 reps, okay? So stay with us. Keep breathing. Beautiful. We're going to take a break from legs and do a nice ab block in 15 seconds. Phenomenal work, you guys. Keep it slow and controlled. Remember your safety first, so when we step off, come off of that hero board first. You got 5. This is your last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Safely come off of that board and block. We're going to place the dumbbell on the ground if we were holding it, and then we're going to go into a plank hold on the yoga blocks. So nice and controlled. We're going to turn those blocks to both face the same direction, and we're going to put the pad on the hero board just so it feels nice on the joints. From here, we take it down to the forearms. You can stay on your knees if you'd like, otherwise pop up onto those toes, and we're going to hold this plank. It's an isometric contraction here for the first 20 seconds, just holding as still as you possibly can. We're going to add some hip dips here in 10, just to get a little movement, because I know holding still is a lot. Breathe, pull the abs in, navel to spine. I want you to picture a beach ball under your abdomen. In 5, you're going to take that hip up and over that beach ball. We go into hip dips. In 3, 2, 1. Nice and slow and controlled. We're taking it up and over to the left, up and over to the right. Just 15 seconds here, my friends. We're going to square off those hips, and on deck, we're going into a plank to pike. If you're on your knees, you're going to pop up onto those toes. You got 5. We square off the hips. In 4, you're on your toes. In 3, 2, 1, we're going into our plank to pike. So keeping the legs straight, the back flat, we're going to hinge at the hips to slowly come up into your highest pike. You want to think about making a triangle with your body. Toes are nice and centered on that pad on your hero board. Elbows are secure on the yoga blocks, but make sure your forearms are pressing down so that not all of the weight is just on that elbow joint. Notice how her eye gaze goes back slightly towards that hero board, but she's not tucking her chin towards her chest. This is beautiful. Extra credit, you can always do a little slow hold at the top of your pike just to get a little deeper into that contraction. This is final 10 here. Killing it, my friends. Breathing. We're going to go into our body saw on the knees. So knees are going to replace the toes in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Killer job. Let's take it down a notch. Come back onto those knees. And we're going to stay on our forearms. This time you're going to hold the hips very still. The movement's coming from your arms. We go into our saw. Allowing your feet and your shins to be heavy on the board, giving you a little bit deeper of a contraction through those low abs. Pull the abs in, navel to spine. Chin stays off of our chest. It's a slow, controlled movement. Try not to shrug through the shoulder blades as you pull yourself forward to restack shoulders over elbows. Think about pulling the shoulder blades deeper into the back. Notice how Lacey's hips are completely still. We're not lifting or lowering here, and just breathing through this. It's your range of motion, friends. And then again, if this movement is just a little too intense for you today, you can always hold your plank position, meaning you would just keep the shoulders stacked over the elbows and you just hold. Friends, you can close your eyes here if you need to. I want you to focus on your breath. Relax your jaw, right? Pull the abs in. Squeeze your feet and your knees together, engaging into those inner thighs. Let your legs help support you. Final 15 seconds here, my friends. Just breathing. We're going into our tuck next. So we're going to move through that hip joint again. Beautiful. In 5, stack your shoulders over your elbows. In 4, 3, 2, pull yourself forward. We're going to hold those shoulders over the elbows. And now we're going to go into that nice tucked position. So we're going to lift the hips just like we were doing with our plank to pike, but now what we're going to do is add a crunch factor to this. So you're going to bring that forward flexion of the spine as the knees are pulling in. So your eye gaze is going to look back towards those thighs every single time your hips are lifting. And then eye gaze will come down, maybe even slightly forward as the hips come down and the back straightens. Be mindful of your range of motion here with the hips on the way down. You want to think about stopping when you're in a tabletop position. And we're just going to breathe here. Keeping it slow, keeping it controlled. And then again, friends, remember, you can always hold the plank if that is where you're at today. Breathe. On deck, we're going to take it up a notch. We have alternating tucks on our toes. Killer work. Final 20 seconds here on these crunches. Really find that connection, really trying to round the back as much as you can. We're going to come up onto our hands, up onto our toes. We go into our alternating tucks in 5. Hands are going to come onto those yoga blocks. In 4, toes on the center of that hero board. In 3, 2, 1. Beautiful job, my friends. Okay, let's take it back up onto those hands. Hopefully your wrists have had a nice little break there. You're going to take the toes and replace where your knees were. And then from here, we're going to rotate, right? So you're in a high plank and you're going to rotate your toes, knees, and hips towards one direction. And you're going to bend the knees, pulling the knees towards one elbow. As you extend, the hips square off. And then we rotate toes, knees, and hips towards the opposite side and pull the knees towards that elbow. Notice how Lacey's hips aren't dropping, right? She's never locking out the knees as the legs extend. It's a slow, controlled movement. Again, if you need to, you can always hold a plank. And if the hip rotation is irritating anyone's low back, you can always keep your hips square and just pull the knees directly under the hips. Again, meet us where you're at. You have 10 seconds here, my friends. Beautiful job. We're going to bring it down into our side plank. In 5, one forearm comes down. In 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we're going to come down onto one forearm. You're going to turn one of the yoga blocks or even both like Lacey's doing and kind of bringing them together. But be really careful about where your elbow goes. We're going to come down onto our forearm and the knees are going to come down onto the center of that hero board. And from here, we're in that nice side plank position. We're going to go into leg lifts with the top leg in 5. Try to keep the body totally still in 4, 3, 2, 1. So the whole body stays still. You're going to extend the top leg. And from here, you're just slowly lifting and lowering. This is actually going to fire up both sides of the body here. So really starting to trigger into our obliques. That top hand can come to the back of your head just like Lacey's doing. It can always anchor on your hip. You can always put that hand onto the yoga block as well to give you a little bit of support if you need it. Just like that. Beautiful. You got 15 seconds here. We're going to go into our side crunches in 10. Beautiful work. Just breathing through. We restack that knee in 4, in 3, 2, and 1. So we restack the knee, and then we're going to go into our little side crunches. So from here, you're going to pull the knees in as that torso rotates, and you'll notice her elbow is going to kind of come towards the ground. So the torso is kind of rotating down as we pull the knees in, just trying to breathe through this. Gorgeous. To add a little bit more, you can do what we call in Legree a nighthawk variation, where the top arm can actually extend straight, and then we scoop and swing that arm down towards the opposite rib cage and then open back up. Beautiful work. You're in your final 15 seconds here. Just trying to breathe. We go on to the opposite side. So this same exact thing on the other side. In 3, in 2, and 1. So keeping the knees on the hero board, we're just going to carefully turn ourselves to face the opposite direction. And we're going to do that same 2 little variations here. So we're going to start in our isometric hold on a side plank. Again, friends, remember, if you need to just hold here today, totally fine. Totally fine. And we're breathing. Pull the abs in. Notice the reason we use these yoga blocks, as you can tell, it's lifting to level you so that you're level with where your knees are on the hero board. Nice and controlled. Gorgeous work. We're going to go into our leg lifts in 5. You're going to straighten that top leg in 3, 2, and 1. So we're going to keep the body totally still, extend that right leg out, and then slowly just lifting and lowering. Again, notice how we're stabilizing through the hips, really pressing through your entire forearm, not just the elbow, and you're trying to push your torso up, like you're opening up through that left armpit. Abs pull in, chin is off of your chest. You're growing tall through the crown of your head. You got 15 seconds here, my friends. Just breathing through this. We're going to go into those side crunches, aka the nighthawk. In 5, we restack that leg. In 4, we go into those crunches. In 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Restacking that leg, resting that top knee on that hero board. Now we're going to pull the hero board towards the yoga mat as we add that spinal rotation, right? So you're getting a ton of obliques, but you're also really triggering into your low abdominal muscles as well. Keeping the chin off the chest, but notice how her eye gaze goes towards the ground as we rotate. So just a friendly reminder that our head and neck are part of our spine. So when you're doing those rotations, that we want to make sure we're including that part. Beautiful work. Just breathing. On deck, we have our opposite reverse lunge. So we're going to stand back up in 10. Beautiful work. Just breathing here. Final 5. We stand back up in 3, 2, 1. Killer job, my friends. Be very careful here. We're going to rotate the yoga blocks again so that it's the same length. We want it to be parallel with our hero board. We're removing the pad from the hero board. And then now we're going to go into our right leg. So we're going to hit both legs, same moves. Grab your dumbbells of choice. You're going to start by putting your right foot on the yoga block, okay, because that's the stable component to this move. Make sure your heel feels very stable on that yoga block. Take a second if you need, right? So you can even see Lacey's trying to like get that stability, right? That's what we want. The left toes are going to come onto the QR code of your hero board. From here, we're going to bend the legs, coming as low as we can, maybe even tapping that left knee on the ground as we bicep curl. Notice how her spine stays tall, right? So shoulders are always stacked over those hips. We're trying not to hinge forward on this one. This is a balance challenge, right? Because you're on that yoga block. So keeping your eye gaze more forward is actually going to really help you with your balance. Feel free to look at something in your room that's very stable, but trying to keep that eye gaze forward is going to help you. Be mindful that you're not looking down towards your toes. Abs are pulling in. We're going to go into our first isometric hold in 10 seconds. Killer work, my friends. Keep breathing, right? As we fatigue, that breath becomes really important. Get as low as you can go. In 3, we're just going to hold it. In 2, and 1. So now we're coming into our low lunge hold. It's just your range of motion. You're challenging yourself as best you can. Arms can stay straight or they can stay bent in a bicep curl. It's what feels nicer for you. Stay really light on that back toe on the hero board. You want that weight forward. Feel the contraction happening. Don't let that hero board run away from you, right? Just try to breathe. You got 5 more seconds, my friends. We go back to full range of motion. You can do this. You got 3, 2, 1. Drive through that right heel, squeezing through the glutes to come up, trying not to lock out at the top. Friends, we're getting tired here, right? That's the whole point. If at any point you need to rest, just drop that knee on the ground and just hold there until you feel ready to come back, right? It's absolutely okay. This is you versus you. We go back into our final isometric hold in 5. Again, getting as low as you can go. In 3, in 2, and 1. Here we go. It's our final hold. So we go back into that low lunge hold. Now you're going to hinge the torso forward and we're going to slowly pull the hero board in and out with the left leg. This is creating instability. So your core is firing up. I want you to squeeze into your right glutes. Really feel the stabilizing factor from the legs and the core here. You have 10 more seconds. Just try to breathe. We go into our lateral lunge. So again, you're going to carefully come off that hero board first. In 3, 2, 1. Fantastic job. Your safety first. We're going to come off of the board. You're going to take one of the dumbbells down, and then you're going to rotate that yoga block again so that it's just perpendicular and lines right up flush to the shallow side of your hero board. If you need, you don't have to use a dumbbell, right? This is just adding resistance here. You're going to place that right foot on the yoga block again, making sure your heel is very stable. Left toes on the QR code, keeping the left heel lifted, left leg straight. We're going to hinge the torso as we bend as low as we can into that right leg. This is a lateral lunge, so you're really going to start waking up your abductor muscles as well, right? So those smaller glute muscles here. Finding as much control with your knee. The knee is going to shoot forward a little bit on that right leg, and that's totally fine. We're just trying not to let the knee come over the toes, right? You're thinking more about pushing the hips back. Drive through the heel, squeeze through the back of the leg to come up. As you're coming up through that right side, think about restacking your shoulders over your hips. Beautiful work, my friends. In 6 seconds, meet me as low as you can go. Keep breathing, chin stays off your chest. We hold it low in 3, in 2, and 1. So you're going to meet me now in your lowest lunge. We're going to hold here for 10. And what we're going to do is keep that body nice and still. And in 5 seconds, you're just bending that left leg to pull the hero board towards you. In 3, 2, 1. So staying low on that right leg, you're going to slowly pull the hero board towards that yoga block and then extending back out. Everything else is holding nice and still. We're just trying to breathe through this. We're going to finish with full range. You got about 10 more seconds here. It's very slow. It's very controlled, right? Stay low on that right leg. You got 5. You're going to extend the left leg. In 4, we go back to full range. In 3, 2, and 1. Extending that left leg, slow and controlled. We drive up for that full range of motion. Beautiful work, guys. Final 50 seconds on this move, and then we're going to go into a bilateral leg move. We have adduction on deck, you guys. It's inner thigh time. Keep breathing. Less than 30 seconds. Again, I know that number can sound scary when you're in the middle of this move. So what I want you to focus on is how slow can you go? Try to do the least amount of reps possible, okay? Really trying to take momentum out of this. It's your final 15. You guys are killing it. Keep breathing. You're going to stand up on that right side in 10, and then we're going to come nice and flat on that left foot on the hero board. We go inner thighs in 3, in 2, and 1. Beautiful job, guys. Feel free to drop that dumbbell if you'd like. Otherwise, you can keep it for front raises to keep that upper body engagement. Now we're going to go nice and squared off. So toes, knees, hips, shoulders, everything's facing forward. With straight legs, micro bend in the knees, you're going to slowly push the hero board out, and you're centering your hips between the yoga block and the hero board. And then you really want to think about using both inner thighs to pull the hero board back in. As you pull the hero board in, the arms are going to come down. As you push the hero board out, the arms will extend forward if you're doing that front raise. If the arms is a little bit too much for you today, you can always put the dumbbell down and just anchor your hands on your hips and do it without the upper body. This is your range of motion, so be very mindful. Go slow, right? Notice that Lacey's not even trying to tap that further yoga block, okay? It's your natural range and mobility. This is very challenging. We don't want you to go so far out that you can't go slowly and controlled back in. It's all about controlling the movement. We're going to change this up into some squats, some very light squats. So you got about 15 seconds here, friends, on this inner thigh full range. Stay really heavy through that left foot, okay? Make sure your weight isn't just on that yoga block. It should feel super even. You got 5. You're going to pull that hero board in. Legs come together in 3. We're going to hold it in 2 and 1. Okay, so pull that hero board in. Now try to hold the hero board totally still. And then we're going to slowly come down into a squat. It's your range of motion. And then drive through both heels to come up. This is not easy, okay, because there's no support from that hero board, right? The trick is to stay very even between both legs. You're going to want to shift your weight onto the stability of that yoga block, but you need to mentally challenge yourself to stay very even so that you feel this on both legs, right? So this is one of those moves that you don't have to double up and do again with the other foot on the yoga block, because you should feel this very evenly between both legs. Breathe, right? Nice hinge of the torso, but notice how Lacey's collarbone stays very wide. We're just going to finish with a hold. In 5, meet me in your lowest squat. In 4, keep breathing. In 3, in 2, take it all the way down, my friends, to your lowest squat. It's your final challenge. Breathe. If you are not holding a dumbbell, extra credit, you can extend the arms over your head. If you're holding the dumbbell, just hold it, right? Because that's going to help you here with that weight. Just breathe. Stay heavy in that left foot. Whatever foot is on your hero board, in case it's the opposite side for you, stay really heavy. Do not let that hero board move. Okay, don't let the hips come up. Relax your jaw. Breathe. You got 10 more seconds. Just try to breathe. We have our little ab finisher on deck. Okay, guys, so we're going to go into our alternating tucks. In 5, you're going to drop that dumbbell, come off of that hero board. In 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful job, guys. That was not easy. Put that dumbbell down if you have it. And then we're going to take the hero board off of our mat, and you can put the padding back on the hero board. And then what we're going to do is alternating tucks. So this is really going to work your whole body, honestly. You're going to feel this through your obliques and your core, but you're also going to feel this through the legs. So we're going to come up onto our toes. Hands are going to be shoulder distance apart on the mat. You're in a nice little tucked ball position. And then staying lifted through your heels, you're going to extend the legs as you push the hero board to the side. And then as we pull the hero board back in towards us, really feel that contraction through your abs, and then you're going to extend through the other side. Okay, so we're going from the left to the right. Notice how Lacey's hips are not dropping down. The knees stay floating off of the ground. You're trying your best to stay very even through your pressure of your feet. You want that hero board to roll right next to your mat, nice and straight and smooth. Baby bend in your elbows, feel the upper body engagement. Chin is off of our chest, we're breathing. Friends, you are done in 15 seconds. That's all you have left. Stay with us, okay? If you need to hold in a tucked position just to stay with us, do it, okay? Breathe, breathe, breathe. You can do this. You are in your final 5. This is it, my friends. In 4, it's your final push. You got this. It's 3, knees on the ground. In 2, and 1. You are done, my friends. Phenomenal work. That was killer job, Lacey. You killed it. So good, friends at home. Thank you so much for joining Hero Board Fitness.
Epic. Fucking epic.
Did you see her flipping us off?
That was fucking
Girl, you
epic.
killed that. Woo! And I swear to God, I was using this stopwatch. Did you see that time, Darvin? That was like perfectly 30 minutes.